I'm here with Jeff Berwick, founder and creator of this entire conference, Anarchapulco. He's the reason for all of it. And he also has Dollar Vigilante. That's how I caught on to him back in like 2012. So my first question to you is, what was the inception moment where you were like, I need to create a conference for these type of people? When did that happen?
This is our 4th year, so it was 4 years ago, and really about a month before we came up with the idea, and it was because I was going to freedom conferences in the US, and I kept complaining. I'm like, why do you have freedom conferences in the US? It's like, you can't do anything here. I try to smoke somewhere and the cops would come, and I try to take my drink outside somewhere and I get arrested. And I'd be like, well, let's go to another bar. And they'd be like, well, it's 1 o'clock, everything's closed. I'm like, why do you have freedom conferences in the US? And so I posted that on Facebook, and someone said to me, why don't you throw your own down in Acapulco? And the thing was, back then, there was no outwardly anarchist voluntarist conference. There was Porkfest in New Hampshire, which is quite a few voluntarists. There was something called Libertopia, which went away for a while, but is just coming back. But it wasn't fully anarchist. It was like, you know, libertarian. And so I was like, there really is no anarchist conference. And then someone just suggested on Facebook, why don't you throw your own in Acapulco? I was like, first of all, I don't know if anyone even cares about an anarchist conference. And secondly, Acapulco is not that easy to get to. So it's going to be a disaster, I think. But being an entrepreneur, the only way you can find out if things work is just to do them. So I just posted on Facebook, someone come up with a name, I'll pay you half a Bitcoin, which at the time was like $300 or something. And it's actually one of the guys from We Are Change, Colorado, he came up with the name Anarchapulco. I'm like, yeah, I like that name. It was just totally off the cuff. I paid him half a Bitcoin. He ended up losing it because he didn't even know what Bitcoin was back then. And we launched it, and we sold like 50 tickets. And I was like, okay, this is not going to work. But then 150 people just showed up.
Walk-ins, kind of?
Yeah, kind of walk-ins. And we were totally not expecting it, so we're all scrambling, like, okay, we had to actually do it now. And at the end of it, I was like, I didn't even think about doing it again, but everyone who came said, we have to do this again next year. And I said, let me think about it, because I was really tired after that. And I thought about, okay, we'll try it one more time, we'll see what happens. And then 300 people showed up, and then we did it again last year, and it was 600 people. And then I was like, yeah, this is kind of becoming something real now. And now this year it's over 1,500 people. It tripled this year.
I know,
and now it's really catching on. So
you were into cryptos before at Acapulco?
Yeah, I found out about Bitcoin in 2011 when it was about $3. I was actually at Doug Casey's place in Argentina called La Estancia de Capajate. And Trace Mayer, who you might know of, he was there. And another guy, who told me, his name was Jeremy, said, have you heard about Bitcoin? This was 2011. I said, no, what is it? He told me. And then right after, Trace Mayer came up to me and said, I'll get you your first Bitcoin. And I was like, all right, cool. It sounds interesting, but I got to see how it works. And he sent me, I think it was like 10 Bitcoin. It was $3. But he said, open a wallet. I did on blockchain.info. I was like, oh, that was fast and easy. He's like, okay, I'm going to transfer you Bitcoin now. And went beep like that. I was like, this is pretty cool. I'm like, now what can I do with it? He's like, well, there's, people are just starting to use it, but there's a bookstore which actually he owns. So I ended up giving him back his 10 Bitcoin to buy an ebook, basically. But all within hearing about Bitcoin, opening a wallet, getting Bitcoin, buying something with it took like 2 minutes. And at the end of it, I was like, this changes everything. And then I just got fully into it from there.
And you know that because you have been in these finance industries and involved in a lot of like big financial like areas before. So you know, I mean, even my experience with the stock market, when I tried to open up something, I was trying to invest in weed stocks when like all that legalization was coming. And believe it or not, I would have made money if I could have done it the day that I tried to open my account. But it took 2 weeks to even be able to get me to invest, and I missed the spike on that. And you nailed it. Like 2 minutes, I already got verified, got paid, and then paid somebody else who was able to use it. That is lightning speed, and that facilitates basically an infinite type speed of light economy, which could be insane for an anarcho-capitalist type society should want to merge.
Yeah, well, when I started the Dollar Vigilante, it was 2010, before I even heard about Bitcoin. And the tagline of Dollar Vigilante is surviving and prospering during and after the dollar collapse. And I was like, the dollar's going to collapse by the end of this decade, and I still think we're pretty on track for that.
I agree.
A couple more years. And a lot of people back then said, well, what's going to take the place of like these fiat currencies if they all collapse? And my answer back then was, I don't know, but I'm sure the market will come up with something. And it was not very much longer. I heard about Bitcoin. I was like, it already did. It's amazing. Gotta love the market.
Exactly right. And me and my partner always, I mean, he actually was even more a free marketist than me at one time, and he has since sold me like 10 times over. So now that it's the 4th year, what are you most looking forward to?
Well, this is the first year that it really has caught on. It's really gotten the public's attention this year, and to me, it's just really fascinating to watch it all just grow because it's very organic, the entire thing. Like not half, but a lot of the things at this conference, we didn't even have planned 2 weeks ago. They just all started coming in. Like Wu-Tang Clan called me 2 weeks ago. They're like, we want to hear about crypto anarchy. We're going to come down and rap.
What? Wu-Tang Clan is here?
Yeah, some of the Wu-Tang Clan guys. And this all happened.
One of the surprises you were talking about on the show?
So a lot of these things are just coming in like that now. Like everyone's just gravitating to it. Like I was out on the beach last night, like hundreds of hippies all doing like meditation and dance and drum circles. And you know, I didn't plan any of that. It just all kind of happened. So there's a lot of people just gravitating to this right now. So to me, the real thing is just watching it all flourish right now and seeing where it goes is going to be really interesting.
That's awesome. That's exactly right. That's the best part about it is that it's not, you don't got all these crazy like rigid things that are forcing everybody in and out of their paddles. You know what I mean? Everybody is free to do what they want here, and that is allowing this thing to take on a life of its own. And you're watching it grow like you would watch a flower grow on your windowsill. Ironically enough, it's almost connected to that Tesla inventor guy. The whole idea how this machine works is it creates a field that then merges with your field, and these two fields kind of dance to where they energize each other. And that's what seems to be happening, because I believe and he even confirmed for me, technologically, that was my question. I was like, does that relate to like Reiki and energy? Is that the same means by which that stuff works? And he said, yes, absolutely. And Tesla would charge himself up with his machine so he could do that stuff. And I was like, that's amazing. And that's what I think is happening. I think that you have so much powerful, magnetic, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, energy. And just like that machine, the synergy is causing it to grow and expand at a rate that is like trees, you know what I mean? I just gotta say thanks, dude. Thanks for being the genesis of this movement as far as like conference-wise and getting everybody in the same room and getting the think tanks going. That's unbelievable. What do you want the world to know about Anarchapulco? If somebody has no idea what this is, what do you want them to know about this movement?
That's a good question. Really, the conference is about peace and love and self-ownership, and so a lot of people, that's a very foreign concept. It sounds bizarre, but it was even like in the 1980s, Murray Rothbard said he thought there was only 15 libertarians in the entire world. That's the 1980s, and he said he knew them all. It was people like Walter Block and Wendy McElroy and Ayn Rand and a few others, and look at where it is now, thanks to the internet in a large part, and it's just growing like crazy now. It's a little bizarre to me that this is like a new concept to people. That, yeah, maybe we shouldn't use violence to get what we want and extort people and all these sort of things. Like maybe we should just own ourselves and take care of ourselves and take care of each other voluntarily. And it's kind of funny that, you know, the word anarchy, if you talk to your average person, you say, I'm an anarchist, they're like, oh, you like riot and break windows? Like, no, that's what they say on the television programming, and it's called programming for a reason. And that's what they say in your dictionary, which is put out by the same people who run everything, saying anarchy is chaos. And that's why a lot of people don't even like to use the word anarchy, but I've always been like, we can't let them just take every word. Like they even already took the word liberal. Liberal used to mean almost anarchist.
I know. That's why I consider myself a classical liberal, because the term liberal doesn't even mean what it initially meant anymore.
They change all the words, and they do that on purpose so everyone gets confused, right? Mm-hmm. If people are confused enough, and all the words mean the opposite of what they think, you can't talk to them. Right? So really, for people out there watching, if you don't know a ton about freedom and you want to learn, this is the place. And like you said, the best part about it is meeting thousands of other people who all have similar beliefs, not the same beliefs. It's not like we're a big cult or anything. There's definitely a lot of people who have very different beliefs here. But at the very basis, we all have one belief, and that is you don't aggress against other people. That's really what Jesus said. It's very funny. Like Jesus said the golden rule, and that was do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Very similar to what we're saying. The non-aggression principle. Do not force people by violence to do what you want them to do. And like I said, it's bizarre that this is a foreign concept for so many people. But if you really want to just get inundated and surrounded and absorb all the energy, as you pointed out, of people who are already living this way, and it really amps you up, just being around these people. And that's why a lot of people come to this conference, is because they're like you from like a really non-free place like the US, and they're like, everyone's crazy here. They're all into this cult called government, and they're all status, and they're all like, I'm left or I'm right, which is all just a false narrative. Like they're basically brainwashed people.
Absolutely. My parents, bro. Sorry, Mom, but that's you described my parents, and that's the philosophy that gets rammed down your throat harder than anything else. And to even just like politely challenge that is frowned upon in the most like.
Well, that's what it is with cults, right? So it's like you're living like. Really, like in the US, you're living in a cult with like 300 million people who are in a cult. They're brainwashed into a cult. They don't know it, obviously. No one who's brainwashed knows they're brainwashed.
Exactly.
But it's like, I don't know anything about Jehovah's Witnesses, but just use them as an example. It's like you live in a place where everyone's a Jehovah's Witness, and you're trying to tell them maybe there's something better than Jehovah's Witness, or maybe there's some bad ideas with Jehovah's Witnesses. They're just like, no, like they'll get angry at you, and that's what brainwashed people do. And that's why it's really important, in my opinion, to talk very nicely with them. We can't get angry with them because there's no point. They're angry. They'll get angry with us because we're questioning their cognitive dissonance in their head, because they kind of know we're right, but they've got all this programming, and when they clash, they'll get really angry with you. And that's why we really need like a lot more gentle approach, talk calmly with them. You can't really force a lot of people to go to this, but if enough people start having these ideas, and because people are kind of like a herd mentality in many ways, your average person, and this is all trained in them from the government indoctrination camps called schools for 12 years, your television programming, propaganda constantly, that trains them to just go with the crowd all the time. But what happens if the crowd starts to wake up to freedom stuff? All of a sudden, your average person, if they're at a cocktail party and there's 10 people talking, and one guy goes, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, and one guy goes, I'm just a voluntarist, and the other guy goes, me too, and I think it's better. All of a sudden, they're like, whoa, which side do I have to be on? Because now this is an option, right? And your average person will go with whatever everyone else is doing. So it's really about just growing it. You can't force it on people, but getting enough information out in every angle so that it sparks them in one way or another. And my show called Anarchist, I always ask, how did you become an anarchist? It's almost a different story every time. Something caught their attention and they just went, maybe I should look into that. And then they started, and once you start, you just keep going. Even libertarianism, which wasn't a big word like even 10 years ago, thanks to Ron Paul, who's at this conference. So many people became libertarians, and the only difference between a libertarian and an anarchist is 6 months. It's basically once you get that far, you start going, wait, why do we even need government at all? Once you get that far down the road. And then once there's enough people doing that, and it's growing, it just will filter out. And we could actually go into a state of anarchy quite easily and quite quickly once we reach a certain mass, and most people wouldn't even know it happened. It'll just start to disappear. Your average person will be like, I'm not paying that tax. What do I get out of that? And his friend will go, yeah, screw taxes, government's gone. That's it, it's over.
You even made that point about how Lyft and Uber did that to taxis.
Yep.
It's the same exact thing. Like, it wasn't like this big like uprising where we just went to attack like all the cab places. Everybody's just like, oh, I can do this, I'm just do that.
Yeah, this is better.
And that's what I think cryptos is going to be, man.
Absolutely.
Everybody's going to be like, oh, that's what I can do, and I can send money to my boy in China, and nobody gets ripped off or tells I can't do it. All right, forget it. Screw my car, you know?
Yep.
I mean, we even ran into the same scenario where we couldn't get a car in Mexico City to drive here, not because we couldn't give them our credit card information, not because I'm not a licensed driver, but because my pieces of plastic weren't present, so that the government indoctrination system would permit it. And like, it's just like people are fed up.
There's buses that are really nice for like $30.
Oh, okay.
And there's
Really?
flights, of course. Yeah, like VIP buses here. Like when people ask, is it safe in Mexico? I'm like, the U.S. is way more dangerous in every way that I could think of. Like being on a Greyhound bus. Have you ever gone on a Greyhound bus in the U.S.? That's like you're skirting with life and death with the kind of people on those buses. Here it's like all VIP leather seats. They're serving drinks and everyone's happy.
That's what we're doing. Jeff Berwick finds us a way home for $30. Jeff, thank you for the way home. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for this conference. You're the man, dude. It's
Thanks
great.
for coming.
Pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure.
All right.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.